The proposed tax reform bills passed second reading in the Senate, but not without some controversy. Senators argue over the process followed before allowing tax administrators into the Red Chamber. And the appointment of the acting Chief of Army Staff gets approval of the House of Representatives. Hello and welcome to the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adeoye. Senator Hallowed, representing Borno South Senatorial District, is gradually becoming the central character in the drama surrounding the four proposed tax bills that is in the National Assembly undergoing legislative scrutiny. Hallowed may have soft-pedaled on his earlier position that the bill was dead on arrival, but he is still closely following the process.
You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice.
He got into a heated argument with the Deputy Senate President, who was presiding over plenary when the country's chief tax administrator and consultants were to be admitted into the Hallowed Red Chamber. Senator Hallowed has been able to hold his own even when support for his standpoint is fast declining.
Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You will have your way, but I can have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice. This thing is very sensitive. Our people have been dominated by this matter. When you say it's matter of urgent national importance, yes, we do have matters of urgent national importance. But even those matters normally is referred to the next legislative date or another legislative date. Please, I beg you in the name of God, this matter is very, very important to not only us, but Nigerians that we represent. And we swear by Bible and Holy Quran that will represent the interests of the people. These people partially have spoken. The governors, the National Economic Council, and that makes
you have made your point. Can I respond to you?
You can rule me out of order.
Let me respond. Let me respond to you. Now, please, we are not here for rhetorics. We are acting on fact. Excuse me. Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. Order.
You, because you are sitting there saying saying it's written. Now rule me out of order.
Mr. President, let me clarify. My motion was for suspension, not invocation, of Order 12. Order 12 talks about those who are privileged to speak in this hallowed chamber, as well as the exceptions that can be granted. But when a motion is moved for suspension, it means that rule does not apply again. In addition, sir, for the purpose of our working relationship, let me also amend my motion by saying that in addition to my motion for suspension of Order 12 on floor privileges, I'm also coming under Order 1B, which says in all cases where there is no specific provision or rule, the Senate shall regulate its own procedure. So, Mr. President, let it be said that my motion is based on both the invocation of Order 1B of our rules, as well as the suspension of Order 12 of our rules. Nigerians need to know, and we also want to know. Let's hear these people. Let's ask them questions. And that's why I've chosen that we go this way before I bring my bill for second reading.
In the discharge of their official duties. Number 2, the chamber shall not be granted for any other purpose than the use of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I read through Yeah, I read through some of these things, and I listened to the leader most appropriately. I don't see anywhere whereby the senators should allow these people to come here and make the kind of interactions they so want. However, committees of the Senate and Appropriation can invite for the interaction of this manner, no, but not the Senate in session. I think our rule does not cover invitation to consultants or any official of government to come and brief the senators.
Something that is necessary, that intent is good, but probably how it's going to be configured is a problem. So that has been raised by the former Senate leader and some others that contributed to the debate. So I believe that we should give it that opportunity to move forward, and then at the committee stage, the way it's going to be configured will now be decided. We don't kill the baby with the bathwater. Since we understand that intent is germane, is apt, so let's allow it to move forward, and then when it gets to the committee stage, then whatever decision that's going to be taken in terms of how it's going to be configured, that will be done at that stage. And of course, when the report is brought to the floor of the Senate, we'll look at how the committee is going to do the entire thing, and if it's okay with us, then we can pass it. But it's not in tandem with the Constitution, or it doesn't go well, it's not sensible, it's not okay, then of course we can get it aborted. So it's on this note that I put the question. Those in favor that the bill be read the second time, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
We have significant areas of work in progress in reforming our economy and taking Nigeria to a place where we all aspire for the country to be. We also have areas where we are beginning to see positive results. For the areas where we need to make improvements, these include our exchange rates, the strength of the Naira, and the stability of the Naira. We need to rein in on inflation as well as cost of doing business. We need to address rising poverty in the land and the cost of doing business, as well as finding decent jobs for our people, particularly our young population. Our interest rate environment is very high, almost impossible to do any legitimate business, borrowing at 40–50%. We also have challenges around efficient public financial management, coordination of government policies across different levels, as well as public communication. But the areas where we're beginning to see positive results include the balance of trade and current account surplus. We are beginning to see inflation slowing down in developed markets, which means as they cut their rates, more investment will come in our direction. We're seeing a decline in budget deficits. We're seeing rising revenue, though remains small. And we're seeing crude oil local refining in Nigeria, which is good news. And we have our capital markets not doing badly, could be better.
This administration is determined to halt this economic slide. A critical step has been subsidies that disproportionately benefit the wealthy, redirecting those funds to strengthen public sector investment in critical infrastructure and service delivery across federal, state, and local government. The results are already evident. Last month's Federation account distribution set new records in allocations. The results are already evident. Last month's Federation account distribution set new records in allocations to the 3 tiers of government. The tax reform bills before the National Assembly represents the next pivotal step in this economic recovery process. These reforms aim to consolidate the gains made so far. ensure sustainable revenue generation, and lay the foundation for a robust, inclusive economy. There are 10 compelling reasons why these bills will not only prevent further economic decline, but also catalyze a rapid economic turnaround for our country. 1, strengthening national growth. Nigeria's tax reform is a bold step toward building a self-reliant economy. By enhancing revenue generation, we reduce dependence on external borrowing and pave the way for sustainable growth and development. Fair and inclusive system. The reforms are designed to create a tax system that is equitable, ensuring that every individual and business contributes their fair share while protecting low-income earners and fostering social equity.
The consideration of the tax reform bills currently before the National Assembly is underway following the successful passage of all 4 bills at the second reading stage in the Nigerian Senate. This development comes just 24 hours after the Senate invited tax administrators for an interactive session to gain a deeper understanding of the need for tax reforms. After getting a full brief on the general principles of the tax reform bills at his previous sitting, the leader of the Senate spearheads the debate for second reading. Lawmakers largely expressed unanimous support during their contributions, with the exception of Senator Hallowed, who voiced reservations about the matter.
The Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill 2024 SB 58584, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill 2024 SB 585, and the Nigeria Tax Bill 2024 SB 586. The Nigeria Tax Reforms Bill is a significant move to overhaul the country's tax system. These bills aim to simplify the tax landscape, reduce the burden on small business, and streamline how taxes are collected. In broad terms, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the 4 bills seek to ensure uniformity in tax revenue administration in Nigeria in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, eliminate the incidence of double taxation across the country, deploy taxation as a tool to encourage private sector investments in critical industries, and boost individual disposal incomes through targeted tax exemptions as captured in the various bills. In the area of tax exemptions, there is a proposal to exempt those whose salaries are not more than the minimum wage from the pay-as-you-earn deductions, while small businesses with annual turnover of 50 million naira or less are equally exempted from payment of taxes. Similarly, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, there is proposed huge reduction in company income tax from the current 30% to 25% by 2026, as part of deliberate attempt to curtail the incidence of double taxation and multiplicity of taxes and levies, multiple taxes hitherto paid by companies under various tax heads, namely 2.5% education tax, 0.25% Naseni tax, have been harmonized into a development levy of 2%, which by the year 2030 will be applied to fund the newly established student loan scheme, which will benefit many Nigerian youths.
Mr. President, I rise to lend my voice to the motion that these bills introduced by the executive as part of a comprehensive tax reform in our country be read a second time. In doing so, Mr. President, I remind us that by our rules, at this stage, we are to discuss the general principles and not specific details and provisions. And I rise to say that I agree in general the need for a comprehensive tax reform in our country. After the second reading, at the committee stage, when the public hearing is held, everybody who has anything to say will be invited to say, as the chairman of the committee has said. Now, there are issues I am concerned with. Some of these issues that have been raised are also as a result of insufficient consensus building and consultation prior to the introduction. And it's understandable, as a former governor, why some governors express concern at the neck. That is legitimate. That consultation should have taken place. And I believe between now and at the end of our legislative activities, more consultations will happen. But that does not detract from the essence of the legislations that have been sent to us.
Reforms is necessary if we have to move forward. Even in our lives, you look at where you are, where you want to be, and how you want to be, so that you get there. I am not against reforms. And I'm not against these reforms, tax reforms. My problem is, number one, the timing. The timing as it is today, when you talk about reforms to Nigerians, whether it's good or bad, they misconceive it. And as we said, I just want to add to what distinguished Senator Dixon said. He talked eloquently and explained so many things. There are 4 things or 3 there. But, as you said, the time for that would be at the public hearing or when we pass it to the second reading. But let it be on record that my problem with the bills, I've said 1, that is the timing. Number 2, the issue of derivation made the reform contagious, contaminated, and contradictory in some cases, because the Constitution has to be amended in order for some of these proposals to be effective. I'm glad we are doing a constitutional review. So even if it means reviewing the Constitution,
this bill should be withdrawn first, and consultation should be held with the Nigerian Governors Forum and traditional rulers. We have a procedure which is clearly and unambiguously stated in our rule book for the process of lawmaking. And the Constitution, in a very clear and unambiguous terms, gave us the powers to regulate our proceedings. Section 60. Section 60. And pursuant to Section 60 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, we gave these rules to ourselves in order to guide our proceedings. And then the process of lawmaking is very clear and unambiguous as per this book, that second reading, it will be now transmitted to the committee for public hearing. In the course of the public hearing, Nigerians of all walks of life, of all groups, will come and aggregate, including the governors and traditional rulers, are free to come and ventilate their opinion.
And governors forum.
Yes, that's why, including the governors forum and traditional rulers, are free to come and ventilate their opinion as to the pros and the cons of the bill before the public hearing, so that our committee will now look at the various submissions, aggregate it, and then bring it for clause-by-clause consideration. So this procedure that Senator Ndume, with all this due respect, has suggested is foreign to process of legislative exercise, and therefore is purely academic and should not be considered.
The Senate has directed its Committee on Finance to conduct a public hearing involving all stakeholders and those who have reservations with the bill.
And our responsibilities, we are going to do it and to discharge it
to the best interest of Nigerians. What these bills entails is good for this country. And anywhere we see it necessary, and if it's necessary to do the needful in terms of giving Nigeria a legislation that will carry every sector of this country, we will do it. We will give these bills all the necessary legislative processes it requires, such as public hearing. We'll call for memoranda from all sectors. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, regional groupings, we will call for memoranda. And then at the end of the day, we will do a retreat with experts, tax experts and consultants.
The specifics will be looked into whenever we go for the public hearing. We'll get the experts, we'll get the traditional institution, we'll get our governors and all other stakeholders concerned to make their inputs. We will not pass anything here that will not be in the best interest of Nigerians. We believe strongly that what is good for Nigeria is what we will do. And we should at this stage even say, let's go for the second reading so that we can subject it to legislative processes. Who do I call so that I won't put any question until I hear from Senator Ndume.
The House of Representatives has confirmed Lieutenant General Olufemi Oloyede as Nigeria's substantive Chief of Army Staff. Chairman House Committee on Defense, Babajimi Benson, lays the report of the Joint Committee on Defense and Army, which screened the acting Chief of Army Staff. The report received accelerated consideration, and the committee's recommendation that Lieutenant General Olufemi Oloyede be confirmed was adopted. The confirmation needs the concurrence of the Senate to enable President Bola Tinubu swear in Mr. Oloyede as Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff.
The Parliament graciously appointed us to screen the acting service chief. We did that yesterday. We reviewed his CV. We questioned him on various issues, which included interagency synergy, civilian-military relationships. Our observation, sir, is that General Olatubosun Oluyode is fit and proper and gave a very good account of himself. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, we urge that this House do approve this new position as a new Chief of Army Staff. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The House in Committee of the Whole...
Order, please.
The House in Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Ad hoc Committee on confirmation screening for acting Chief of Army Staff and approved the only recommendation therein that Lieutenant General Olatubosun Oluyode be confirmed as the Chief of Army Staff of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Leader, please move that the House do adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole as a working instrument of the Parliament.
The Special Committee of the House of Representatives on the review of the 1999 Constitution says it will hold a national dialogue on local government autonomy. Chairman of the Constitution Review Committee, Benjamin Kalu, also says 161 amendment bills were gotten from across Nigeria. Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu says the committee is engaging with the Nigerian Governors Forum on key bills such as to reserve seat for women and other gender-related legislations, local government autonomy, and the proposed establishment of state police.
We propose establishment of a collaborative framework, a one-stop shop where the Governors Forum can articulate their collective position and work with our committee to drive meaningful constitutional amendment, considering that a similar collaboration in the past enabled the devolution of powers from the exclusive to the concurrent lease in the areas of aviation, railway, power, and correctional services. A post-legislative scrutiny of the consequential responses to the amendment of the Constitution has been laid bare by the establishment of state Electricity Regulatory Commission by a good number of states. We also highlighted matters such as special seats for women and related gender issues, including state policing, devolution of powers, and local government reform, which have been of particular interest to the forum, especially following recent Supreme Court judgment, noting that their perspectives will guide the committee in addressing them and other pressing concerns. We further informed them that the committee is currently reviewing 161 constitutional amendment bills covering thematic areas that I mentioned here in the course of my report, and invited the leadership of the Nigerian Governors Forum to the upcoming local government summit. And in their response, the forum expressed concern about the local government autonomy, but we emphasized the need to look at the constitutional amendment process holistically. Hence, they requested for the synopsis of the 161 bills. They proposed state-by-state visit for the public hearing. We are considering the request despite the huge cost of logistics.
That's our program this week. Do not forget to engage with us online through our social media channels. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the latest breaking news and updates. Thank you for watching. I am Sujisu Adeoye. See you next time.